Hi again everyone, Scott Pirate Popcorn Fan here, and in this video, I just rewatched The Town That Dreaded Sundown, the 2014 sequel, essentially, to the original 1976 film, and I think the history in regards to making of this film as well as the 76 film, it's interesting because Texarkana is a real city on the borders of both Texas and Arkansas, and there was this true event that happened in the 1940s, which the 1976 film is loosely based on. So, in that way, like uh, these Town That Dreaded Sundown films are a little bit like the Texas Chainsaw films, in a sense that they're loosely based on true events. So, yeah, there's that. And going into this, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, this movie that came out in 2014, it came out October 16th, 2014. So it's 10 years old now, celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. And this movie, it still holds up. I think it's a pretty decent slasher flick, all things considered. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but definitely one of the better Scream clones I've seen. Yeah, you've heard that right. This movie is very much doing something similar to the Scream movies, where it's a whodunit story, and then when you get to the third act, you see a little bit more homage, a little bit more of a comparison to Scream. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I think this movie has an interesting... Let's just say that I think it has really interesting cinematography and lighting and even editing. There's moments in this movie where it's almost like it's made like a documentary, and I can really see that with the way they edit the film, and also how they sometimes have like text at the bottom of the screen like a documentary, and it's really fascinating. I think this movie is very artful because of the unique lighting that it has and the editing, and it's really fascinating as a slasher film. It's an interesting movie-going experience, and I think that the lead actress Addison Timlin, I think she's great in her role as the lead, and also Veronica Cartwright is in this film. I think she's a good she has a good performance in this movie as well. So I think all the acting for the most part is decent. I don't think there's any bad actor in this film. All the performances are decent, and speaking of the story, I don't want to spoil it in case there's those of you that haven't seen it, but essentially the true story that this is based on was about a series of murders that happened in the 1940s, about a phantom, about a killer that was named as the Phantom, and he wore this like bag over his head, and that look has become synonymous with other fictional characters ever since. Like Jason Voorhees wore the bag over his head in Friday the 13th Part 2. And then you can also think of the Stranger character from the Strangers films. He wears a bag over his head. So that look has since become synonymous with other fictional killers in movies. So I just think that that's a really creepy look, with a bag over your head, with eye holes poked out, and then also like the killer in this film wore this like blue jacket kind of a thing that was like a jumpsuit, and it's just a really interesting look to this killer, and I think that also, in regards to the whole Scream clone meta aspect of this film, is interesting because they use clips from the 1976 film in this one, where it's like the 1976 film exists within the universe of this film, so that's why it's meta. That's why it's like the Scream movies. They kind of play clips from the 1976 film in this, like they played clips of the original Halloween movie in Scream. So it's like that. And I think it's really interesting the way they do that. Kind of thematically rhyming with that film in certain scenes, and it's just so fascinating the way they did that. I really liked that, and I think that in regards to some of the twists in the third act, the characters that are revealed as the killers, or killers, I think that was interesting, and I like the lead actress in her role because she is really smart. She is investigating the original case within the story of this film, and she's picking up the pieces, and the killer himself, at the beginning of the film, threatened her to reveal the truth. And I think that's really interesting way of having this sort of final girl kind of just uncover what is really going on with this killer. And I think that's a really fascinating mystery there, which definitely pays off in the third act. I do think that the third act gets a little bit muddled because of the two killer scream thing that is shown in the third act. So the third act, I think, does get a little bit muddled because of that. But it's still a really good film. I think the setup as it goes on is more interesting than the actual finale. But at the same time, with where they ended the film with Addison Timlin's character, and how she was kind of narrating the story at the end, I thought was really fascinating. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I really like this film. It's a really decent slasher flick, and it's a really interesting watch too. So yeah, if I had to give this a grade, I'd definitely give it, I'd say like a B plus. Yeah, B plus. I'd say a B plus. Like I said, I mean, I don't think it's a perfect film by any means. There are a few characters in this movie I don't care for, but yeah, that is my grade for The Town That Dreaded Sundown 2014 film. And the town of Texarkana, it's a real city in Texas, and I think I wonder if they, I mean, in real life they probably do, right? Watch these two Town That Dreaded Sundown movies back to back. It's 2024 now. I'm curious what their community is like now. But yeah, really fascinating. So that should do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.